YouTube, welcome to the top 8 grand finale in top deck list, where everyone and their mother is main deck in Lancia, and if you're not doing it, you're behind. Lancia is the main way to stop Maliss, and because of that, a lot of Maliss players are playing a ton of cards to try to circumvent the Lancia to ensure they can get a second body in the field to at least try to make a splash mage. Some people are using Millennium, some are using Speedroid, which topped in today's event. Now, with that said, Lancia is still way too powerful against Maliss. They're essentially just main deck and a side deck card in a game where side deck does not freaking exist. So is Maliss going to be able to reach tier 0 with everyone main deck and Lancia? I don't think so. I think because of Lancia, Maliss is going to be stuck as a sole tier 1 deck. Now, we have Triple D against White Force. Triple D slaying Maliss in the last video. Make sure you check that out. Are you ready? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
And by watch as long as you can, that greatly supports these events, even if you have us on the background. Let's see what we have here. We're going to Lancia right away in the draw or standby phase. Now, let's look into if that's even a good play. On the website, we're going to type in White Forest as a Mina, and then we're going to type in the word Banish here. As you can see, of course, Call by the Grave, it can be good against the effect of the Wanted Seeker. Banish this card to draw a card. You now can't do that. The Diabel, we don't care about that. Crossout can't be used. I guess it's pretty much against Wanted Seeker. That is not that good. What the heck? Deception, Sinful. It's going to be tributing off our Lancia. With the Lurie on the field, we're going to turn the sequence and Lurie into the sprint. If you do not know about this play, now you will. With just Fiendsmith and a Spell and Trap card in hand, you would be able to go into the Rextremde play, right? What happened to that? What did I miss out on? We Rextremde'd in the other duel, and then the Rextremde was able to discard a Spell and Trap card to then trigger the Esteller. I guess we didn't have the proper setup. Well, you what, mate? Because of Lancia. We couldn't. We got stopped. Yeah, the Fiendsmith play was stopped by Lancia. We did have the full play, but we couldn't fuse with the back row and our monster with the track, so Lancia actually had a good play against them, where on the website, they're normally not playing Fiendsmith, so do consider putting Fiendsmith into your White Force deck for this play, and of course, don't get hit by Lancia. Now, Chris had the option to use Crossout Designator, declaring Lancia if we wanted to. I'm sure Chris is playing more than one Lancia in the deck, but instead we held on to Crossout to negate potentially a better effect that never came up, and then the Lancia ended up stopping our main combo. We had at least 10 more minutes of endless comboing from this position. We have a dead Triple D Headhunt, and you know, this is what happens when you're playing a rogue deck. Generally, your consistency is going to be quite low. You're going to be much more susceptible to bricking. As we missed out previously on the last turn to this play due to the Lancia stopping the tracks from banishing from Engrave, we're now going to be triggering the Esteller by discarding a Spell of Trap. We have Call by the Grave to negate. As we cross out Designate to negate the negate, you will not be fingering my Esteller, mate. Let's hop into game 2. Nightmare Throne, searching for the Copernicus. We have Steal a monster with a Headhunt. We have Negate anything with Baron to Floor. We have Negate 2 special summons with the Wave King Caesar. We have Give 2 monsters the good suck but don't negate them in response to them activating. And then we have the Siegfried, which will negate a Spell and Trap card, giving us 7 forms of disruption. We do have Fenrir, which could help with board breaking, plus the triple tactics talent. Let's see what's good. So they are doing something that I don't even know. Fenrir is going to get sucked up here before it could even activate to banish a card in the field. An incredible use with Machine X. That was great. Because generally the Machine X is not that great of a disruption. We have the Birth, now here, triple tactics talent. Siegfried is going to negate the triple tactics talent. We have 5 more forms of disruption left. If you activate Unicorn, I think we would suck you. No, we ain't sucking. We're gonna save our suck for something better. Wave King Caesar negating the LZ. Negating LZ with an Ash Blossom is huge, thus the Wave King Caesar would be great. Impulse would also be good, but normally you can't negate LZ if there's nothing on the field with your Impulse. We have the Woes of the White Force setting itself in the back row, and just like that, the immense turn 1 disruptions of Triple D proved to be too much. Game 3. Engraver searching for a tract here. We do have impermanence. Tract, grab Lurie, discard the Lurie. You do not want to be imperming the Crimson Tier here. It's not even an option. They have Engraver already engrave. Send from the deck a second copy of the Engraver. Let's return back the Lurie. We're gonna use Imperm onto the sequence. Negate, negate, negate. 3 monster negate on the Apollo mate. We have a negate on the Baron de Floor. We have a negate on the Sylvia. We have flipped the entire opposing field face down with the Diablo. We can flip a monster face down with the Morian. We can Woes flip down again. At least 8 forms of disruption. This ain't it. Nightmare Throne. Sylvia. Negate the effect. Not the activation, thus it stays up on the field for its secondary effect if we could even trigger it. We're now going to Surveyor. Discard Lamia to do something as the Apollo negates. 6 disruptions. What are we negating? To special summon this card from the hand has been negated. We're now going to set up the King Rage to summon the Surveyor. Surveyor activate to do something again. We're now down to 5 disruption. You can add a double D from your deck. No, you cannot. We're now going to Morian. Flip down our own Diablo Star. Was this untargetable? What the heck was that? What? Apollo, negate the Surveyor. Can this not be targeted? Does King Zero say you can't target? You could, why did we do that? Was this, it was normal summoned. That's why it can't be targeted. It's not special summoned. Lamia is gonna activate to attempt to summon from the grave. Baron de Floor, negate. Well, Surveyor in grave, add back the King Zero. At least Surveyor on field can take out the Apollo USA. We have Lacrima Crimson to summon the Requiem here. We're not playing Fiends with the Paradise, right? Yeah, we're not. So it's not an extra form of disruption that we missed out on. We counted up everything exactly. Baron de Floor, pop away that Surveyor here. And just like that, 9,200 damage. Finish him. Well done. MTP, banish the Hare here as we grab a Dormouse. Hare's gonna add back to the hand, and on the summon of the Dormouse, I suspect that we're gonna be chaining the Lancia. Or just chain the Lancia to the Hare, just straight up activating. And now because we can't get 2 bodies in the field, we can't get to a Splash Mage. We can't go into a Ransom Search Mirror, which is a double disruption plus follow-up. Set Impulse and pass. We have Crimson Tier, send from the deck here, Engraver. Let's now make a Requiem as we're gonna be reborning the Engraver. We're gonna use the Druiswarm to banish away the Engraver, which will then trigger our Chaos Hunter summon. Do get ready for that. Nope, we're gonna hold on to the Chaos Hunter. We now have Lacrima being summoned from the deck. We're at 3 summons so far. Baldrake's gonna banish from Engrave our Lancia. As we now commit to our 5th summon. Nibiru, before even waiting for the activation of the sequence, tribute off the entire field. Summon a token onto the field. We're going to trigger the Druiswarm to send the token to the grave. We're now going to March Hare, banish away the Dormouse, reborn the Dormouse on field, which will trigger the Chaos Hunter, discard the Baldrake, as we chain Nibiru to the Chaos Hunter. What? You summoned 5 times also? You did during my own turn. So we're first going to tribute the field, then Chaos Hunter will come out afterward. Nicely done. And by preemptively setting the Imperm, it ensures that we're able to negate the Chaos Hunter. Big enough to take out the token, 3k to the face. Justinian. Oh, much. We could top deck like anything. Door, Sark, hair, field spell, white rabbit to play. We got a ton of one-card combos in Imperm, negating the Chaos Hunter. This is your duel to win. Off the top of the deck, come to me. We got it. We got to play. Imperm, negate the Chaos Hunter. And now let's pop off of the Maliss and Underground. Now, we do have another form of disruption, which is going to be the Lacrima and the Requiem, which will set up the Fiendsmith in Paradise to send a card from the field to the grave. When are we going to fire that off? We now have a White Rabbit as the Dormouse triggers to summon itself onto the field. Dormouse is going to be banishing a Chessie Cat. Come forth. Chessie is going to be banishing the White Rabbit. Draw 2. Is there a reason why we're not doing the thing? Why are we not setting up the Fiendsmith in Paradise? What's going on? As we now go into a Link Decoder, into the Cryptor. With the Link Decoder reborning itself back in the field, the Cryptor can return a banished card. First, we're going to make an Access Code Talker. Access the codes, but boost at 5,300. We're going to banish from the engrave the Cryptor. Non-target wipe out the Nibiru. Cryptor trigger reborn itself back onto the field against the negated Chaos Hunter. And now, we're going to attempt to use the Lacrima as we then get fingered for the negate. Not today, mate. Very well done. We played through a Lancia. We played through a Chaos Hunter. So one of the options to circumvent a Lancia is to play a ton of non-engine. What were the non-engine here? The Nibiru, the Impermanence. Now, we lost going, and so now we're going to choose to go second still, being, I guess we want Mouse to go first. All right, we want to Lancia them. Dormouse banish from the deck the Chessie. Chessie's going to banish the White Rabbit to draw 2. White Rabbit's going to trigger, summon itself here. If we go into a Link Decoder, the Phantasme is going to be drawing into a Lancia, for sure. This is it. Ash can negate the Phantasme. We did not try to Phantasme. We held on to Phantasme, as we're now put in a situation where we have to Nibiru this field. If we don't Nibiru, it's going to go into an Apollo. But if you hold on to Nibiru, you could put them in a scenario where you try to bait them. You trick them into using Apollo to negate something else, and then you chain Nibiru to wipe away the Apollo. Thus, the Apollo does not even negate, and then you Nibiru through an Apollo. But what if they don't negate anything else but Nibiru? Well, we're not going to even find out, as we're going to go into the Phantasme to hopefully draw into a Lancia. Maybe even a Max C could be good. Whoa, 2-3 draw. We did not draw into that Lancia. Not today. So we instead wanted to wait to draw more cards than usual because there were 2 Link monsters. The Apollo has to negate a Bestial for the Nibiru to go through. We have to trick Justinian to Nibiru the fields. Is that going to work? And it will look really bad for Justinian if a Nibiru goes through with Apollo on fields. Let's banish from engrave 2 bodies, march here, add back to the hand here. As we GWC, banish the White Binder, reborn back the Red Ransom, gain 2,300 life. As we now add back onto the field the White Binder, set back up the GWC. What else do we have here? We're going to be linking this all up into our Heart's Cryptor. We're now going to activate the Maliss and Underground, banish from the deck another Maliss and Underground. We're going to return it back to non-target, banish away the Phantasme. As we now just eat off 800 attack from the Apollo. We don't even try to bait. All right. As we're now going to Magnum Hut, at least search for another monster during the end phase. We were under the effect of Max C, and we're going to use Ash to negate the Magnum Hut from searching for another Bestial. As we chain the Druid Storm to also banish away the Red Ransom. We do not want them to get their banish trigger effects during our own turn. The GWC can reborn a banish back binder if we want to, though. Could also crypt to return it back in the action deck if needed. Crimson Tear on summon, send from the deck here, an Engraver. Let's link this off into a Requiem. Requiem's going to be jumping off, summoning from the deck. Nothing as the Apollo negates. What do we have after the Apollo negate? We have a Mirror Monster negate. We have a Cryptor non-target banish. We have a White Binder or White Rabbit set up to be able to non-target. Well, we just drew into the MTP. The MTP stuck in our hand, which we can't set, so we lost a form of disruption by... Did we draw the MTP in the end phase? What? No way. We drew an MTP during the end phase off of the Summon of the Jerusalem, so the Maxi made us lose a form of disruption. That is wild. Bad Maxi. So because of that, we lose a disruption, and the White Binder can banish from the graveyard, which can be considered a form of disruption. So we have Ash, Nibiru, Impulse, Monster Gate, non-target banish, and banish from the graveyard. And the Apollo is now being used as our final negate on it. Let's go. See, Maxi's balanced. And I guess you want to think about it, if you're going to trigger Maxi, do it in their end phase. Maybe they're going to draw into the MTP. March here, banish. We are using the White Binder as a form of disruption and banish from their graveyard, as we were talking about. Banishing away the Engraver and the Requiem. We have the Cryptor. Bro, you smart AF. By banishing the MTP from the hand, then returning it back with Cryptor, our disruption is back. Nicely done. March here, banish MTP. Then Cryptor, return back MTP. Then the White Rabbit's gonna set the MTP. Wow. I love it. Very good. Banish away the Druiswarms. We gain back that form of disruption. White Binder set back the MTP that was stuck in our hand from the end phase. Bobo scoops it up. Damn. That made a full round trip from the hand to banish, back in the deck, back onto the field. 2-0 victory against a deck built to beat his. It's filled to the brim with the Chaos Hunters and the Lancias and the Phantasmes to draw into Chaos Hunter, to draw into Lancia. Let's go. Anguish on summon, searching for a Memento horse. Horse going to summon alongside our Anguish. We're going to pop the horse to send from the deck 3 bodies here. Anguish is now going to be reborning the Mace, which generally searches for the Memento Fusion if you don't already have it. So instead, we're going to grab a Bone Party. It's plays like this where you should recognize, okay, they already have Memento Fusion in hand, because otherwise they would have searched it. Oh no! We have Nibiru. We got Nibiru. The Dice Smasher, the math on this is, let's first read the effect. During the main phase, detach 2 materials, and only with a 3rd material do you get the true effect. Each player roll a 6-sided die twice. The player with the higher total cannot activate monster effects nor declare an attack until the end of the next turn. And it's not completely random, because what it states for the second part of the effect is if we have a 3rd material that stays as the final material, you're going to treat one of the results as a 7 to give you a 93% chance, we did calculate the math on this, to ensure 93% chance that they are going to be the ones that cannot activate monster effects nor declare an attack. But we have Nibiru. Nibiru, wipe away. Dice Smasher just got banned in the OCG, right? It was banned. As we now summon the Horned Dragon, we're going to return 5 cards engraved back to come forth and summon. As with the combined creation, we're now going to be ending our turn. We're going to use the Memento Field spell to set a Bone Party in the back row. During the opponent's turn, we have the ability to Bone Party pop the Horned Dragon, which will then activate to pop 2 cards on the field. We have the Creation Combined, which could reborn the Creation King to pop more cards on the field. We have the Bone Party, which would summon an Anguish, potentially searching for a Mace, which could steal an opponent's monster. I would say we have at least 3 forms of disruption plus a Maxi. We're going to Maxi preemptively. You Maxi me, I Maxi you. No, I'm going to Ash negate your Maxi. This ain't a fair duel. We're going to chain Bone Party to preemptively get poppin'. Pop. Our Horned Dragon searching for the Mace, or summon Anguish, then search for Mace, but because we're under Maxi, we don't want to summon the Anguish. So we lost the Horned play. Let's reborn the Creation King. We got a steal plus a pop. Let's break out Tribute off Nibiru, searching or summoning a Goblin. Let's Mace take control of that Goblin. Let's finger the Mace, which will also finger our own Mace. Negate the Mace. Now we're left with just Creation King. Pop in multiple cards in the field. If we reborn with the field spell, that's not really going to be any other forms of disruption here. We have Gaddock adding back the Memento Fusion. Anguish, which is going to be searching on summon for a horse. When do we get popping? I think we just lose. We're going to summon a Darkblade from the deck. Darkblade is going to be popping the field spell, triggering the Acheron to add back the Memento fusion again. Maliss is not fun, but Memento is. Memento is a good time. As the Darkblade now pops itself to summon from the deck our Mace, which is fingered, mate. We have Acheron, which is going to be activating so that we can attack directly. Let's turn all 4 of these bodies into the Apollo. Quadra Disruption negate for that one Creation King. Let's Memento fuse into our own Creation King. And then with Creation King, we're going to send from the deck to the grave. We're going to set up a combined creation, which is 8,000 damage directly attacking right to their face. Acheron is going to be the card on summon to allow you to do that. Then you get that perfect 8,000 game. Anguish on summon, attempting to search for our horse. We did not ash that. Horse is activating to summon from the hand. We're going to use the Fualos to draw per summon from the deck or extra deck only. Also, let's add a Maxi on top of that. Sync's got to be thinking, bro, this is totally unfair. What the hell is going on? Can I have a duel where you don't mess it up with a Fualos and Maxi? We're still going to horse, pop itself, of course, send from the deck a Gaddock and the Sheep. We're going to be reborning. They draw 1, add back the Sheep and Grave, which we could save for the opponent's turn. We're just going to do it right now. Draw another one. Sleepy into a draw 2. Bruh, 8 cards now? Okay. Creation King is going to get negated. There's some discussion on just holding the Ash for the Creation King. And if that ends up being the default way to always use the Ash, then you could try your best to, with the Sleepy, fuse with the Gaddock to put the Gaddock on the higher chain link to chain link block it. Negate. Set the breakout and pass. We have Maxi plus the Creation King, which we cannot expect for this to go through. If we're going to kind of, in a way, take a Maxi challenge, well, it actually is going to go through because I have a Lancia to stop from the Call by the Grave. Damn. As I was going to say, is that we can't expect the Maxi to go through after taking the Maxi challenge because you're giving them the increased chance of drawing into a crossout called by or Ash to negate our Maxi. Lancia putting in work. We have Darkblade discarding to pop the back row breakout. We do just have... Wow. I mean, the Lancia Maxi went through. What do you want? Wow, what? This is good. Now we have a chance in this duel. Bone Party is going to get popping in response to the Memento field spell being activated. We're going to chain Maxi. We're going to chain the Creation King. Now, the problem with this is the field spell's not going to trigger off of the Creation King dying. If we waited for it to resolve, then it would trigger. So now we don't get a reborn. Popping itself plus the Memento fusion, Bone Party resolve. We're going to draw into a Lancia, and what I say? Did not work. Well, what now? We thought it would, maybe? That killed us. Holy crap. Yeah, we definitely be careful about that. That gave the same energy of the Labyrinth. I'm just really thinking about Labyrinth with that. Because I think I remember Labyrinth players they activate the field spell, then the opponent would change the activation of the field spell, and then they would be like, all right, I'm going to chain Welcome or Big Welcome to pop a card in the field, but this has to resolve to get the effect. Tract, Ash, negate, mate. Now, if we try to make a Bestial play, we could chain Lancia to stop the Bestial from being summoned. Well, are we doing exactly that? Yep, nope, I don't think so. No summon of the Magnum Hut for you, but you could have then normal summoned a Hand Trap and then go into the Fiendsmith play. Now we're passing. And this is what I discussed earlier. Not only can you play a bunch of other cards to forcefully summon under the effective Lancia, like Speedroid, Millennium, and the Cyburst, that like the Code of Soul, you could just play a lot of non-engine. We got Lancia, even though we're not a Maliss deck, but pretend if we were a Maliss deck. If we were Maliss and we're passing still on Valor, Ash, and a Magnum Hut, essentially 3 to 4 forms of disruption, so what? Then I got Lancia. I'll wait till next turn. We drew into another Lancia. Gold Sark banished from the deck. We have Maliss versus Zeus. Dormouse is going to get effect Veilered here. Negate. And this is what I talk about if you're playing Maliss. Consider setting bluffs. set the Imperm, then summon the Dormouse, and maybe they may not want to Valor, but it is a different scenario here because this was summoned from the Banish. Thus, even if you were to banish with an NTP, it would not be as good because it will now be banished, but it would still be in their head of like, damn, do I really want to waste a Valor if they're going to be blocking it with the MTP dodging the Valor? You know, got to trick them a little bit. Underground, banish the White Rabbit. We're going to summon itself onto the field. We're going to Valor again, negate. And what's crazy about this is we could still set up at least 2 forms of disruption with just these 2 bodies that we already used 2 Valors on. We're going to battle it up first before further committing. We know there's a Magnum Hut in their hand. We're ending. Well, if we go into a Splash Mage Reborn, Magnum Hut banishes the monster we want to reborn. So we obviously don't want to do that, right? I guess because we know there's a Bestial in their hand, we don't have that Splash Mage play. Quite interesting. Searching for the barrel. That is quite devastating. Another barrel. We're going to tribute off the Magnum Hut to reborn our Lubellion. Lubellion is going to be activating to set up the Regained. We know that they have the barrel, which we're going to much rather use the Imperm on. Negate the barrel mate. Now we're going to lose our whole fields, but we still have a ton of 1-card combos within our deck. We could top deck into a Hare, into a Dormouse, into a White Rabbit, into a Bestial for playing it, into another Underground, into a Sark. But I'm not done with my turn. Your 1-card combo play is going to be stopped by whatever I do with my Fiendsmith engine. And now because Bomb has a Lancia for the mirror match, we're not as good against a non-Maliss deck. Now, to Bomb's credit, you do have to at least play 1 Lancia in your deck for the Crossout Designate to negate. But if this is our 2nd or 3rd Lancia, it would have been much better served as potentially an Imperm. Imperm onto the Way of King Caesar so that we can make our 1 Dormouse play. Regained is going to be triggering to reborn the Magnum Hut. Regained is a form of disruption. Normally, I don't count Regained as a disruption, but against Maliss, we have Ash, Wave King, and Regained is a disrupt. If they banish any Maliss and it activates, you then just spin it back in the deck and it does not summon. We also have the Fiendsmith in Paradise with the Lacrima Crimson Tear. So 5 disruption here against a 1-card combo. That's gonna be no good. Blood Send for the deck, the Fiendsmith in Paradise. Yes, please activate and then Regained it. Yeah, buddy. Whether it's a Hare or a White Rabbit or a Chessie, you're gonna be the higher chain link as the non-turn player with 2 optional effects. Return it back. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Let's hop into another duel. And we did not Imperm the Lubellion because we knew the Magnum Hut searched for a barrel in the end phase, and then the Regained is one of the main counters to the deck when, you know, once per turn that is. Okay. Dormouse. Summon. Now he's set. Does he Valor here? It's like, that's gotta be an MTP, right? But it could be an impermanence. It could be a bluff. He still does it. Nah, you ain't bluffing me. I'm not falling for that. That actually is something. Okay. Now, the Dormouse will not come back, and the Ash is negating the MTP. We can finger the Ash. Negate. And from here, we are dodging. We're still going to be able to banish. We're also going to get Search in. This is pretty good for us. For Maliss, that is. Can Phantasme draw into an early Lancia? Or are we going to go for the bigger draw? We're going to wait for the Link Decoder and Ransom, or are we going to summon it on the Link Decoder? Chessie banish, draw 2. Hare's going to add back here. Hare's not activated yet to summon. We're going to Gold Sark, banish from the deck. That banish is going to be the White Rabbit. White Rabbit, come forth, sets a GWC from the deck. And we're now going to normal into the Link Decoder. This is our option to draw into a Max C, draw into a Lancia, but it's only a draw 2. If we wait, we could draw 3 instead. We're not waiting. We're going for the draw 2 instead of draw 3. Whoa! Jackpot! Let's go. Draw into the Lancia, activate it right away. Let's now Splash Mage, reborn the Hare into a White Binder here. White Binder is going to set up the MTP. It's not as disruptive as using the Lancia in the draw phase, as we could still set up disruption. We have the Firewall Dragon, Link Decoder Reborn itself back. We're now going to Maliss and Underground, just have it face up, I guess. We already used it this turn, or we have Lancia, we can't even use it. So what are our disruptions? We're gonna be able to non-target banish, bounce a card back that's gonna be a monster from the grave or on field, and we also have Nibiru. A good use of the Firewall could potentially be getting rid of an Engraver Engrave. We're going to GWC, and we also have White Binder, Banish from Engrave. Let's count that as a form of disruption, because it's continually being used as a form of disruption, the effect to banish. Drill Beam is no good, can't use it. Banish away the Lubellion, banish our Hare and White Rabbit, so we're at triple disruption now. March Hare, add back to the hand here, and let's White Rabbit summon. We already have the MTP though. Come forth. As we go to the battle, we cannot declare an attack onto anyone except the White Binder. Dormouse is going to be added to the hand through the MTP to non-target banish. Magnum Hut is going to attempt to summon. You're giving them Valor to stop the Magnum Hut summon. Is it better to just bounce the Magnum Hut? I mean, Magnum Hut will then also search for a Bestial in the end phase. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. It's still an and though, all right. Crimson Tier, sending Graver here. We do have just Nibiru left. We're done with any other forms of disruption. And we're not under the effect of the negative effect of Impulse, which would turn off the Nibiru. You do want to be accounting for that always. Engraver, send the Firewall Dragon. Engraver is going to return back the Requiem. Now let's turn these two bodies into the M7. M7, before it activates to return a monster from either graveyard or field back to the hand, is going to get hit by the Nibiru. Drill Beam is not turned on by the token. It is turned on by the Dippity, though. Hare's going to banish the White Binder. White Binder's going to draw a card. Drawn into a Lancia, not so good. We have Drill Beam, Valor, and Magnum Hut. We do not have a Crimson Tier into the Requiem, Fiendsmith in Paradise. MTP set, we're going to banish the Hare. It's a non-target banish a card on the field. We're going to negate and banish the MTP. No search and no banish. You still have Valor and Magnum Hut. Hare is going to add back the Dormouse instead of the Hare. Let's further go into the Apollo USA, which now negates the Valor and Magnum Hut, but not within the same chain. So if you wait for a well-timed Magnum Hut, they then try to negate, you chain Valor Mate. Let's now let's scoop this up. We're out of here. Too much from Maliss. Normal Dippity into the Requiem. We have Ash, Lancia, and Imperm. I don't even count the Lancia here as a disruption. We're going to Ash, negate the Requiem. Still have Imperm. Engraver, searching for the Tract. Engraver, return back the Dippity. Tract, add back the Lurie, then reborn it back onto the field. We're going to be using the Imperm for the sequence. Here's the sequence. We activate the fuse. We Imperm, negates. Not today. It's Phantasmic, count your own links. Equal to the number of link monsters your opponent controls +1. All right. Well, we could just Lancia right away. In the draw phase, they don't have call by, they don't have cross out. We are waiting for the main phase. Now, why wait with your Lancia? It's an up, it's a down, it's a risk. What's the situation? If they have a called by the grave and I use Lancia, you could use Baldrake to dodge the finger by banishing Lancia, but you can't do it in the draw phase because they don't have a monster on the field. You have to wait for them to commit a body, then you Lancia, then they finger, then you banish, but on the inverse, while you're trying to protect your Lancia from called by, you're now giving them the opportunity to chain March Hare to Lancia, which is only activatable in the main phase, which is why you'd want to Lancia in the draw phase to circumvent the Hare, giving them an additional body here to then go into Splash Mage, at least into a ransom play. Well, I will banish the White Rabbit because you didn't use it in the draw phase. See, at first we're like, I'm gonna wait for main phase to Baldrake, and then after seeing a set card, you're like, you know what, screw it, I'm not gonna wait. But now we're screwed because we waited. We're getting punished by waiting for the main phase. Now they got their two bodies, as they can now splash. Now, Baldrake, right? You turned off even being able to Baldrake. You now can't Baldrake the Splash Mage because you Lancia. Lizard Dose. Did we already Splash Mage? Bro, you can't banish. What? Splash? Reborn. Lizard, banish. Lancia says you can't banish. What happened? Phantasme, draw 2, return to activity. Bro, dose pass? What the heck? Oh, shite! Okay, we have regained. Yeah, no, I guess we're like, all right, we're playing around the Lancia, but then we forgot we're playing around Lancia. Top 4, mate. Maliss Justinian at the top versus Memento at the bottom. Begin. Anguish on summon is going to get hit with the Imperm negate. We can't call by the Grave Mate. Now, what do we do from here? Sleepy can't additionally summon because of Memento has not been destroyed. Just Imperming the very first effect was enough to completely shut them down. As we're now going to see this, we're setting our back row card so that whatever we Gold Sark is summoned can dodge potentially a targeting effect. We're going to be banishing the Dormouse. Dormouse, summon itself onto the field. Dormouse activate, banish from the deck our Chessie Cat. With our Chessie, we're gonna get super polymerization. Discard the Sleepy, fusing up 3 bodies into, man, this card is, I gotta put this in, I gotta find room. When the opponent would special summon a monster from their extra deck while you control this fusion summon card, you can negate the summon. And it requires 3 darks on the field, which required our own Anguish. We have the White Rabbit, which is going to be banished away with the MTP. Couldn't activate since we already have the GWC in our hand. As the White Rabbit reborns back on the field, setting the GWC, then activating it. The White Rabbit will now not come back as we reborn the Chessie, just so we can banish the March Hare to draw 2. Now, with the March Hare being banished, it's going to add back to the hand here. As we're now going to link this off into a Lingeribo to potentially negate a back row card. We're going to March Hare, banish from engrave the MTP. What can we do? We can't link. This hard counters us. Oh, like, damn, this is going up in stocks. Do not play this over the Earth Golem. You can play this in addition to the Earth Golem, but oh my freaking Jesus, this is hard carrying. We could make a Little Knight. It would just get banished. We have Impulse. We have Ash. Let's go. Another Super Poly, which we're now ready for with the Earth Golem. Back-to-back Super Poly is why Maliss just can't win this. There's no way. Right? I would think so. To battle we go. We got a 3,000 big meat on the field. Wipe away the March Hare. We have Call by the Grave. Is there a Dormouse in graveyard? There is. We could finger the Dormouse in grave to finger the one on field. Activate the Dormouse. Finger the Dormouse in grave. Negate. No banish in the deck, but now the Maliss and Underground can banish in the deck. But we still have the problem of we can't link summon without it being completely negated. Banish from the deck. This is why Voiceless Voice is pretty good, because of summoning the Sarvis. Sarvis being able to negate a summon, then Sarvis could even resummon back on the field to negate again. We're going to go again. Chessie, banish, draw 2 here. We have Imperm to negate the Triff, but Triff cannot be negated from the Impulse in hand. We have to set it for a turn. We have Dark. Do we negate the Dark? We do not. We're going to reborn the Anguish from engrave. As we further turn these 2 bodies into a Little Knight, now we're going to have to negate this. Negate the Little Knight and destroy. Now we have to further play through this hard once per turn effect being activated, or it's going to go to waste. We're going to banish the White Rabbit, adding it onto the field here. March Hare, banishing from engrave the Dormouse, which has been fingered. We're going to further go into the Splash Mage. Splash Mage, activate, reborn from engrave, and then we can't get Super Poly because they have no card in hand. Let's play through it. Let's do it. Ooh, that is a big problem. Melito not having anything to discard. We're going to banish 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard at the moment as we now use the White Binder to set up the GWC. We're going to use the GWC to banish away the White Binder to +2 bodies onto the field. The White Binder is going to be summoning, also drawing an additional card. Nibiru and Imperm is now here. Access code Talker 5300 attack. We could wipe away the Super Poly and the Triff or just attack right over it. Say goodbye to that much-needed Super Poly, which would have gone into the Earth Golem to completely stop this play. Further banishing to take out the Triff, dealing 4,900 damage over the Goblin, set the Imperm and pass. We have Impulse, Imperm, and Nibiru. Damn. Had we had another card in hand to use it with, maybe we should have just farmed with Triff, right? Would it have been too much of a risk to summon the final card in our hand, which is keeping the Super Poly turned on, and just beat them down every turn for 3,000 damage? Anguich is searching for the horse. We have Maxi and Nibiru. Come forth, from the hand or grave, that is. And now we're gonna go into the Dice Smasher. No way. 93% chance. We rolled a 4. Okay. A 6. The opponent has to roll higher than a 6. And then monster effects until the end of the next turn cannot be activated, nor can you declare an attack. Oh, a 2. And a 5. You turn the 2 to a 7. And just like that. So what happens? It doesn't show it visually. The die result of 2 changed to 7, so 7 plus 5, 12 is bigger than 6. Damn. No way. Cannot activate monster effects nor declare an attack until the end of the next turn. Oh my Jesus. All right, we're gonna banish draw 2. We're on Allure of Darkness, banishing the Dormouse, come forth and summon, banish the White Rabbit. White Rabbit is here. We have no disruption whatsoever. Now, you do have to remember, let's say you draw later into a Bestial, or you have a Bestial and you plan on summoning it, you have to do it before the Splash Mage. You cannot special summon except Cyburst. That includes from your hand. It's not just the extra deck where you're restricted. Now, the forms of disruption here are quite large. We have Impulse to negate a special summon, Imperm to negate a monster effect. We have White Binder, which could banish cards in the graveyard. We have MTP, which could be set through the White Rabbit, which will banish a card in the field. We have Apollo USA with the double monster negate. We have Cryptor, which could banish a card in the field. And do we want to count the Magnum Hut also? Yeah, why not? Magnum Hut up to 8. If you don't count banishing from the grave as a disruption, it's 6. Otherwise, it's 8 disruptions with the graveyard banishment included. Good luck. Darkblade on summon, discard the Anguish to pop the impermanence. Negate the Darkblade. Now, by forcing them to imperm early, we can't even activate the Darkblade effect to now pop and summon from the deck. We're going to go to the battle phase. We don't have the field spell, so we're going to use the Cryptor effect early to banish away the Darkblade. They now lose their battle phase. We're going to Memento Fusion. Fuse it up in main phase 2. We're down to 6 disruption since we used up the Imperm and the Cryptor. We're going to Apollo, negate. No Chainlink block for the Creation King, which the main way to block it would be a Sheeple. Sheeple with the Gaddock. Gaddock on the higher Chainlink. Let's get to it. Another way to Chainlink block would be you could, in response to the fusion or chain the fusion in response to this, a Bone Party. You could Bone Party to summon an Anguish or something that would trigger on summon to be the higher Chainlink to the Creation King. Begin. Start this off with a barrel. We're not going to imperm a barrel. We're allowing him to search and set up the load for a Drill Beam. Lubellion is going to be searching for a Bestial, Lancia, which you can't chain the Bestial to banish because we don't have a body on the field to make it a quick effect. Thus, the Lubellion is stuck. We have load starting from the deck, the Dippity to turn on the Drill Beam. How do we consider these disruptions? We have the ability to banish a card in the field and negate it. We could Ghost Spell, negate an interaction with the graveyard. I guess we want to count all these from 2 disruptions to 5 with the banishes, and then the Baldrake effect, and then the Druiswarm trigger. It's mostly 2 disruption, but up to 7 if you really want to count every small detail here. So, we'll get through it as it happens. Unicorn. Negate and banish. Completely for free. We didn't commit to a normal summon, nothing. It's not part of our key combo. Did not need it. Engraver is now going to be searching for our Tract. Tract, searching for our Lurie. Discard, reborn the Lurie. We can't Bestial the Lurie because there's no body on the field. as we now make our Requiem. Requiem summon from the deck. The Ghost Spell will be able to negate the Engraver, but Ghost Spell's better on the sequence. You want to use the Bestial instead. Bestial banish Engraver. So we're now down to 5 disruption. And you could either Ball Drake the sequence, or you could Ghost Spell the sequence. A Stellar, discard a spell and trap, summon from the deck a Sylvie. Summon a tail, search for Tales of the White Forest, activate to search our deck for an LZ Azamina. LZ Azamina, special summon. We are now going to be going into the sequence. Which do we Ball Drake? We do. All right, banish away, even though the Ghost Spell could have been used against it, but it would still have been linked to on the field. We have the LZ Azamina searching for the Deception Sinful when sent to the grave for a Synchro Summon. Sinful Spoil, search our deck for the Hallowed Azamina. Hallowed Azamina is going to be going into the Brisalago. With the Brisalago, let's go into our deck, grabbing our Wanted Seeker. Now, do we want to use the Ghost Spell onto this effect? Adding a card from the graveyard to the hand, deck, or extra deck, which would allow us to negate this. We're not going to. Shuffle in the deck. Nope. All right. Hallowed Azamina, chain the Wanted Seeker. And we're going to instead negate the Wanted Seeker. It's like, what? This searches from the deck. It's also from the graveyard to just definitively stop the Diablo Star being added to the hand. Nice animation on Ghost Spell. Bro, what happened? Let me tell you what happened here. We did not negate the effect of Wanted Seeker. If you ash the Wanted Seeker, we still have a Sylvia on the field, but we did something different. If you chain Ash to this play, there's a Sylvia on the field, but if you chain Ghost Spell, why is it different? Ghost Spell negates the activation of the Seeker. Thus, it is not on the field, the activation's negated, and the Hallowed Azamina can now not send it to the graveyard. Oh my Jesus. Activation negate completely outplayed the Hallowed Azamina and the Diablo Star Search, a 2-for-1 special. Zeus, that was beautiful. You had to have done that before. Magnum Hut is here, banish away, engrave the Sylvie. We're now going to be reborn in the Unicorn with our birth. On the attack, we're going to banish face down the sequence. As we now, Rasilla, wipe away the Magnum Hut, further going into the Masquerina. Masquerina into Little Knight during their turn. We have Druiswarm banishing away the Requiem. Thus, we now cannot set up a Fiendsmith in Paradise if we were even playing that, which I don't believe we are. We don't have room for that. We now have our Phantasme, Barrel adding back from Engrave, Unicorn triggering, banishing away the Desiree. We're going to use the Masquerina into Little Knight on summon to banish away. We're banishing the Druiswarm. We're going to trigger the Phantasme as we then further banish ourselves away. Now, let's figure out how this works. If your opponent special summons a Link monster, you could special summon this, and you are going to draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters the opponent controls +1, then shuffle equal to the number of Link monsters they control. Well, there's going to be 0. Thus, we draw 1 and we return nothing back. Free draw. Upstart Goblin. Banish the Ball Drake. Draw 1, return nothing. Our second tract in hand. Let's tract search our deck for a Lurie. And I was going to speed this up, but you know it. Unicorn is here searching for the birth. We got double Phantasme. Let's Phantasme it up, yes. Phantasme, draw 2, return 1 card back. We got our barrel ready, returning back the Dippity. And now we are ready with the birth. We're going to birth the Unicorn back onto the field, Hallowed Azamina. We are under the effect of Max C. How much special summoning do we really want to be doing here? 6 cards now in their hand as we set up the Morian. Our forms of disruption will be the Sylvia negate anything, the Morian flip down a special summon monster. The problem with Morian is it doesn't work if there's a Phantasme to negate. Phantasme has an additional effect. When the opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, which would be the Morian, you will discard a card to negate the activation and destroy. Barrel, setting up our load. Unicorn's going to banish from the extra deck. We're not going to even load search. We don't want the Sylvia to negate. Morian, attempt to target. As I said, Phantasme, negate. Sylvia is going to negate the negate. Negate. As we now get flipped face down. And now we could search for our drill beam. And drill beam is activatable. And we're gonna want to activate it because we're just gonna reset it back. We're gonna banish away the birth, and otherwise if we didn't banish the birth, he could have potentially banished the drill beam if there was at least 3 cards in grave, which there wasn't. Let's grab the Lurie. Now, this play right here, when you add the Lurie, what's gonna happen? Birth would trigger, banishing the Lurie on the higher chain link. Lurie would never get summoned. So this birth was actually a form of disruption that we dealt with. Let's speed this up. Tracked banish, fuse of the hand and fields. Into Lacrima Fiendsmith. We're going to 2-0 victory. Let's go into the grand finale. All right. Tracked. And Lancia, right? So you have to preempt your Lancia. You can't chain it to the track. It's a cost to banish. And people are just going to forget, right? I guess he forgot. I would have never forgot, right, when I play on the ladder because I play perfectly every time. But you do have to remember, and it's also hidden information. Does he have a valid fusion on the field with Tract? No, but there's maybe a Fiendsmith play from the hand where you'd want to preempt it to stop the Tract from banishing by cost. All right, what is happening in here? Grand finale. We have Phantasme, which has the great ability of drawn to a Lancia or Max C against Maliss. Justinian is going to be going second, unfortunately. We do have Imperm, Ashen, and Nibiru. We're going to be normal summoning the Crimson Tier over our barrel here as we make our Requiem. Requiem's going to be tributing itself to summon from the deck our Engraver. With Engraver, we're going to equip a Requiem onto it to now make our Necroquip Princess to reborn our Engraver from Engrave, to then turn these 2 bodies potentially into a Wave King Caesar, or we could just Nibiru the field before the Wave King Caesar. That would negate the Nibiru. Now, let's follow up with the Magnum Hut, banishing away the Princess. With the Magnum Hut on summon, we're going to be searching for a Dragon in the end phase. We're going to turn the Nibiru token into a Link Karibo to now make a Little Knight. A Little Knight on summon, banish away the Nibiru, as the Little Knight requires 2 effect monsters, thus the token cannot be used. Let's see what we have. We have a banish in response to an activation. We could imperm this preemptively before making our plays. And then beyond that, we have double Bestial Banish. We have Baldrake Banish, a monster summoned from the extra deck. We have Phantasme, which could possibly draw into a Lancia. Let's see what happens. Imperm, turn off the Little Knight. Dormouse. We also have the Lacrima for the Fiendsmith in Paradise, so yeah, I guess we should consider that, of course, as a disruption unless we ash it. Ash negate, now we're back down to 3 disruptions. Double Graveyard Banish. Now, when can banishing against Maliss be good? Potentially when they're setting up with their Splash Mage. They're usually going to be trying to reborn a monster that has already been banished, and this is why, if possible, when you target a monster with Splash Mage, it's ideally something you have not triggered yet in case they have a Bestial. Dormouse, banish from the deck, our March Hare. March Hare, come back to our hand here. Let's link this off into a Link Decoder. Now, we're going to be triggering the Phantasme, chaining the March Hare, and we're going to Baldrake banish the Dormouse. Now, the Dormouse is still going to trigger, it's going to reborn, but the March Hare is now stuck in the hand here, and we're just going to have 2 bodies in the field where, with the Link Decoder, we want to have 3 bodies to trigger its effect. Otherwise, how are we going to trigger it? We're going to have to use the Gold Sark or Malice in Underground, and there's still the chance of us drawing into a Lancia. Lancia will stop the Gold Sark or Malice in Underground. Yep, here it is. Oh, Lancia, nope, Nibiru and Valor. Damn, we just drew 2 hand traps. Further going into a red Ransom to chain link block with the Link Decoder, as we're going to use the Valor to negate the red Ransom. No search for you. And then we are now in a scenario where we potentially have to Nibiru early. Otherwise, they could go into an Apollo USA. We're going to Baldrake instead, banish the Link Decoder, as you still can't go into your Apollo. I don't think we're going to go into Apollo now. We're going to have to change up our play. We're going to White Rabbit, come forth. White Rabbit's going to set a trap from the deck. We're going to chain Nibiru. Why chain Nibiru now? Well, this card has not been banished yet. And if it has not been banished yet, if we wait for the resolution of the White Rabbit, it's going to use the trap to banish the Red Ransom, which will not only summon itself back on the field, but then summon another body from the deck if we have not banished it yet, which would be the Chessie. There would be Ransom and Chessie, which could then go into a Splash Mage, then further Reborn. So let's just get away from all that and just tribute the fields. Big Nibiru, and now we don't have a way to banish the Red Ransom. How do we do it? MTP cannot be used. Now, during the opponent's turn, we could possibly do so. We're going to be banishing the White Rabbit, which has already been banished this turn. Quite disruptive. With the MTP alone, we are in a situation where, what if I told you we have a disruption? You shouldn't believe me because we don't. The MTP has already been used, so to use it, we'd have to grab March Hare. We banish the Red Ransom would summon, then banish a White Rabbit would then summon, then set a GWC, can't set the MTP. So that does screw things up, but we do have a follow-up. If Zeus is not able to set up enough disruption this turn or can't end the duel, it still can be Justinian's duel to win. Let's go into a Requiem. Requiem summon a Crimson Tear. Crimson Tear send the Fiendsmith in Paradise here. We have Chaos Angel forcing the activation of the MTP as the Druisworm deals with a token. And this is when we MTP, grab from the deck a March Hare. With the March Hare, we can banish the Red Ransom. Let's also click on the Chaos Angel to see its effects. Both effects are in play. None of my monsters can be destroyed by battle, and only synchros are unaffected by activated monster effects. Goodbye to the token through the Druisworm as the Engraver searches for the Tract. Now, this is only at the end of the main phase. So once he's threatening lethal, attempts to enter the battle phase, we're going to have to use the March Hare. Lurie further go into the sequence. Sequence is going to be fusing with the Graveyard. Return 2 bodies back on the deck for Lacrima. Lacrima Fusion, target Engraver, reborn it onto the field, attempt to enter the battle phase. We're going to retain the main phase as the March Hare summons the Ransom. Now, notice what happened. Did you notice anything change? Engraver is now 2,400 attack. What the? And the Chaos Angel's attack also got flipped to 2,800. Fiendsmith in Paradise is going to trigger. We have White Rabbit also triggering to summon itself back. Red Ransom is going to be searching our deck for a field spell follow-up play. Now, at the GWC, we can gain 2,300 life. We have the Desiree triggering to send the March Hare. White Rabbit is going to be setting the GWC here. GW, 8,800 on the field. We have more than that because of the Lacrima burn. Agnumde piercing battle damage is now here. Engraver is going to send the Red Ransom to the graveyard. To battle we go. Did we calculate we lost anyway? Should we GWC banish summon gain 2,300? Huh? Was it still game? Chat, mathematician, 2,300, his attack gets called off. He loses 1,800. We gain 23. We have a 23. He attacks a Chaos Angel. He Agnumde, then Reborn, then attack again. It's probably still game. Alrighty, what do we have here? We have a Dormouse. Now, GWC dodges a disruption, right? It does not. It requires a Malice to be engrave or banished. So for all the TB11 haters out there, had this been a TB11, we could use TB11 to dodge the Effect Veiler. What the hell? I'm not playing TB myself. Dormouse activate, chain TB11 mate. Wait, why my GWC no work? Oh, shite. Well, Dormouse now negated as we set pass. We have double monster negate plus a special summon negate, triple disruption. Justinian, you're not gonna lose to a single Effect Veiler. No freaking way. Engraver, search for our Tract. Tier 1, by the way. Track search for Lurie. Lurie Reborn. Lurie into the Requiem. We're probably gonna use the Impulse on the Requiem effect, right? Right, there we go. Negate the Requiem. Double Imperm left. All right, now GWC is going to reborn the Dormouse back. Engraver is here. Engraver is going to be equipped with the Requiem. Send the Dormouse to the graveyard. And are we going to be able to threaten lethal damage? 4,300, Magnum Hut activate, impermanent gate, no search for you, mate. Damn. We're in a spot where we are using imperm onto a Magnum Hut. That is not good. Fiendsmith sequence, which you do have an imperm for. Negate. Baldrake Agnumde is how much damage? Surely not enough. And then we have GWC to block, but we don't want to block. We need GWC to be a follow-up play. Thankfully, they are not putting off enough damage to force out an early GWC. Little Knights, banish, and now we have to chain GWC. GWC, reborn our Dormouse back onto the field here. And what do we have in response to this? We activate Door, they chain Little Knight. The Door would just come back on the field, so it's really not that great, but we still have a Little Knight chain banish. And in Graveyard, we don't have a Crimson Tier. We have Phantasme to draw into a Lancia or a Maxi, some form of good disruption, and then we have the Nibiru. So it's pretty much just double disruption, and then YOLO Phantasme. Let's activate the Dormouse. We're not going to chain Little Knight. Chessie, reborn. The battle we go. We get that boost thanks to the Dormouse. We lose the Little Knight, and we want to establish a field in main phase 2. Underground, banish. Do I need to be? Do we really have to be? We're gonna play around this, right? Right. We're not gonna get Nibiru. No. We're gonna set MTP. We're gonna link Karibo, link decoder that is, and then go into ransom. Bro, what's this gonna draw? Are we gonna pop off? Is this it? Is this it? What is it? Oh, that sucked. That was bad. Let's go. Red Ransom is here. We now have to Nibiru on the resolution. But the field spell's already been used. If we get wiped out here, then we could grab a mirror and we could change the Nibiru to banish the Red Ransom to negate the Phantasme. But if Phantasme negates mirror, mirror does not banish by cost. We could MTP. Yeah, MTP. So otherwise, the cost is to banish with MTP. The effect is to banish with Malice and Mirror, which the Phantasme would negate. But why? That was supposed to be in response to Nibiru, though. Why not Apollo? I guess, yeah, we had to trigger it first because if it's in the graveyard, what do? We have no way to trigger the effect. So now, on the resolution, knowing that we are going to grab the March Hare, we could go into potentially an Apollo here. We're going to Splash Mage. Uh-oh. March Hare banished. Did we have any play? March Hare could have banished the Dormouse, which we didn't banish yet. White Rabbit's been banished. Chessie's been banished. Bruh. We can still banish the Dormouse. This is okay. We're fine. And the token could be used to make a Cryptor. Straight up. This could make any mouse link. These 3 bodies into whatever we want. We got the Cryptor. Cryptor is here. Return back to GWC. Non-target banish the Nibiru. And I guess we go to game 3 because we have the Mirror to negate any monster. We have Cryptor to non-target banish anything. We have March Hare to, unfortunately, the MTP is in the graveyard, so we can't set it with the White Rabbit. Engraver, return back the sequence. Requiem equip onto Engraver. March Hare is going to banish the Red Ransom. Red Ransom. Now, mind you, what's this doing? The March Hare states that your opponent cannot target the Cryptor with card effects. So instead of forcing out a Mirror or a Cryptor, just make it untargetable. Or do it anyway. Okay. We're now down to 1 disruption. You can't target either. It's whatever it's pointing to. Larry Reborn, Crimson Tier, send the Paradise here. Banish the Tract, use it up into Lacrima. Lacrima is going to attempt to add back or reborn the Engraver. We are going to negate the Lacrima. Bro, we're at 1,300 life. Oh my gosh. If Lacrima gets dumped, that's 1,200 damage. If Typhon attacks, that's game? No? No? What? What? Wait. What's going on? He kept Cryptor. He's gonna attack over Cryptor for game. 100 life? What the? No way! Typhon for game. How do we lose to Typhon, man? No way. Top decklist, begin. Maliss, 4 within the top 16. Let's see what is good, starting off with tier limit. Chris with 60 card tier. Are you out of your damn mind? I'm gonna be looking at you from over here. You can see the deck list. Yeah, I'm zooming in a bit more. Okay, my head's blocking that. There we go. What? Oh my geez, we have the Nemesis flag for Banshee is gonna be searching it, and then we have the Protos search as we just lock people out of dark, and wham bam, thank you ma'am them. Nicely done. Good job, Chris. Pretty much what you did last week, right? Is it the deck list is a little bit different, so you could check the differences there. And then we have Blue Eyes, Albedo, double Chaos Hunter, triple Artifact Lancia, and what you could do at Lina is steal your opponent's Lancia. Lancia's being used against everyone. If Maliss Lancias you, you just Lina, steal the Lancia, and with it on the field, you could activate it during the opponent's turn. We also have a skill drain. And then we have Branded. Pariah. Let me open up this for Pariah's view. What the heck? Patchwork, Allure, and the Fusion Deployment. Look, we got 2 Edge Imp Chain, Dramaturge, Ad Libitum. We going back in the day with this. We have Masquerade Burn in this deck to burn Maliss to death. Very nice. Good job, Pariah. The new way to play Branded. Snake Eye Fiendsmith, MD Morpho, main deck, Chaos Hunter, double Lancia. There is the extra deck. All right, 40 cards clean. Then we have Crystron. 41 Crystron, triple Sulfador. We got the triple Lancia. I mentioned triple Sulfador because you just wouldn't draw it. You were getting clapped up by the inclusion getting negated. That's just really unfortunate. Very nice. And then let's check on the triple D. 45 card triple D, triple Lancia in the deck, of course. And then there's the extra deck. Okay. And then we have Memento. Top 4, Melito, triple Lancia, triple Super Poly. Dude carried with this big time. Making this against Maliss, negate their Link Summon in addition to eating up 3 bodies in the field, sometimes even your own, just to get this out. It's worth it. And Melito kept clapping with the Paradise Smasher. It had to get Nibiru. They'd have to nib early, otherwise it would just go through. Good job, Melito. And then we have GG Sync. Triple Artifact, Lancia, triple Super Poly. This is the way. He's not playing the triple Dark, but the Earth Golem can be good enough for it to warrant using the Super Poly. What else do we have here? White Forest Azamina. Chris IT. Anything crazy? Double Lancia in the main. There is the extra deck, the Sprint into the Rextremde. I very much liked that. And then Vintage Alex, triple Lancia, Vintage up, and here we got the Chorizo. Okay. And then we have the #1 deck, Zeus, triple Lancia, triple Phantasme, drawn to the Lancia, drawn to the Maxi. Good job, Zeus. And then Scar, triple Lancia, triple Chaos Hunter, triple of the Phantasme. You know he'd be playing Meows, probably. Good job, Scar. And now to look at Maliss, we're going to first go to the top decks page. We're going to click on the last 7 days, tournaments, meta weekly. I'm going to type in Lancia. Lancia. That is how many of the cut. We have 1, 2, 3. This is 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 13 out of top 16 on Lancia. But what about how many Lancia? How many are on 3 Lancia? Lancia at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of the top 16 on triple Lancia. What about 2 Lancia? So we have 9 on triple Lancia, 2 on double Lancia, and the 1 Lancia is just for the cross-out designate. Oh my Jesus. So if we look at the Maliss, we have 1 terahertz. We have a Code of Soul with Speedroid Tear Top. Let me move my camera over for this. Let's see. All right, now that we see the engines above my head, let's check out Hipster. Hipster with the Tear Top, Code of Soul. Very nice. Could send that with the Tear Top or a terahertz. Could send an Ash, add it back with the Firewall, or you could just send a Maliss name, then banish it with a Lizard Dose or a Little Knight. Well done. Speedroid gives you some good resilience against a Lancia. And then we have Lemon in the top 16. Anything out of the ordinary here is not main deck and Lancia at all. Not one bit. We're on double chassis, a triple tactics talent, triple imperm is out of the ordinary, playing a 3rd Bestial even. Good job, Lemon. And then we have Bomb, top 8. Double Imperm, double Nibiru, triple Lancia for the mirror match. We have Terahertz, to Save Worm with just a Save Worm. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Not sending, no pack bit, no aggregator, no Code of Soul. Sure. And then we have Justinian. 1 Allure of Darkness. We have a random Ghost Spell on the deck, 1 Lancia, triple Nibiru, triple Impermanence, triple Imperm, triple Nibiru. Damn. This looking good. We still got maintain the 2 Bestials. You have the triple Impulse. Almirage, I'm a big fan of the Almirage. Almirage makes Splash Mage much easier to make with your non-Cyburst that you have to normal summon. So let's say you use Maliss and Underground or Gold Sark, and you get disrupted, heavily messed up, and you just have to resort on normal summoning, let's say an Ash Blossom or a Ghost Spell, turn it into an Almirage, Splash Mage, go into the Ransom, and you're good from there. Now, let's see the breakdown for tournament topping Maliss. Tournament topping Maliss. We have Terahertz at 58% usage still. And all right, wait, someone's not playing Maxi in one of their tournament topping Maliss decks? That's crazy. What the heck? So, good job to all the players. Good job to Maliss being the top performer. Let's see the tier list right now. It's now at a 30 power level. Memento is the only tier 2 deck, and it's probably just gonna fall. We have Maliss at tier 1, then everything at tier 3 and below. Yeah. It seems like what the meta is potentially heading towards. I don't think Maliss could reach tier 0. It's not going to have enough. There's too much Lancia for it to happen. So, thank you very much. That is the event. Clap it up. Let's go. Meta Weekly.